Marshawn is a fresher breath air. He just loved chain restaurants.
Matter of fact, he ate at Applebee's 12 times during the bye week.
I love each and most of you guys.
That really is still swollen, isn't it? It kind of looks like a football, actually.
Thank you for that.
The stitching, you got it.
Thank you.
Look,
Hey, D, I like donuts, baby. Let's go.
Stay focused. Work hard in school. You might not like school, but make sure you're working hard at school.
Them bills are bomb. Them bills are bomb.
It's your boy DM3, and you're listening to the Witty Not Funny Sports Podcast on the Built in Buffalo Podcast Network.
Let's go.
Witty Nation! Welcome, everyone, to Witty Not Funny Sports Live, the number one self-rated Buffalo sports show covering the Bills, Sabres, entertainment, and everything in between. And as always, part of the Built-in Buffalo Network. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter, X, or Instagram at WittySports716. Give us a follow there. We love following back. And check out everything Built-in Buffalo is giving you every single day of the week. Hopefully you caught the Buffalo Basement earlier. Great shows throughout the week on Built-in Buffalo every single day. The best Bills content out there. So make sure, if you haven't yet, comment, like, subscribe, do all three, and you win a prize. No, I'm kidding. You don't win a prize, but just do all three anyway, because it would help us out. So make sure you comment, make sure you give us a go Bills, make sure you say hello, and hit that like and hit that subscribe. Show some love for Built-in Buffalo. We are your hosts. I am Matt. He is Tony. Tony, welcome back. How's it going tonight?
Oh, thank you very much for the cordial welcome back, my friend. And it's nice to see you this evening as well. The night is pretty solid.
Young?
The night is young.
And the night is young. The night is young.
We will be podcasting for 4 hours, so I'm glad that the night is young.
It is a marathon, yes.
Yep. We should do a marathon.
That's the part we didn't tell anyone.
We should do a
podcast
like a
marathon.
24-hour podcast.
Ooh, that's a good idea. I like that. I don't know what we have to talk about, but...
Well, we only ever talk about one thing, so I think it's pretty well written.
We just talk about everything and anything, like this giant cloth behind me for half an hour. People will love that. It'll be great. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Hopefully you're not watching the NFL honors and you're watching us, because we're going to do some end-of-season Bills awards coming up in a couple minutes, only in the most wittiest way we can. In honor of the NFL honors, Josh Allen, of course, up for MVP. He's not going to win. At least I don't think he's going to win. I don't think it's a topic of conversation, but and I know other shows have talked about that. He should win. He's the most important player on the team. It's not the most important player. But let's be real, Tony. Josh Allen's already won the most important award of the NFL season, and that was in the wild card round. The MVP, the Nickelodeon most valuable player.
That is true.
Award that is so high, in the highest regard, held higher than all the rest. Any Super Bowl, any MVP, any Offensive Player of the Year. The MVP is really where it's at, right?
I will say, like, if I had a blimp, the blimp would be of any award, like of anything that goes on display. I'm looking around my basement as to like where it would be on display. There would be no shelf high enough. There would be no place prominent enough. I would say the blimp,
there would be not enough spotlights in the world to put on that blimp.
Yeah, I would say like the blimp, or if I had a piece of the aggro crag.
Oh yeah,
like those would be two things that would be like infallibly the most valuable emotionally and probably literally, and also like the thing that I would want most people to know about me.
If I had a piece of the aggro crag from the show Guts, I would display that thing front and center. Any family dinner, it's going right in the center of the table. That's like Thanksgiving dinner. That's the cornucopia in the center. That is the focal point. The aggro crag. I mean, that's the best icebreaker ever. Oh, you have a piece of the aggro
Yeah.
crag? Did you win guts? Of course I did. I climbed the mountain.
Yes, that's how you have the aggro crag.
Do you think like if you had that story, if you won guts, like that'd be the most impressive thing to other people who knew about guts?
Well, Matt, I am not ashamed to say that, we went to college as Facebook was being born. And I'm not ashamed to say that some of my college friends and I spent a lot of time looking at other people's Facebooks who had aggro crags at other schools and the things that they were doing, when they brought their piece of the rock to college.
It's impressive. It's not a power hour. It's a power aggro crag hour.
Yeah, like it would be that. And it would just be like, we're having a power hour and the crag is in the middle of the table. And like, it's the biggest deal in the world to a lot of people. And it should be.
That's when Facebook was great. When you would join like groups like Will Ferrell Fan Club.
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, I was the king. When Facebook first came out, I was the king of groups. I had the number 1 and the number 2 most popular group. It was at Fredonia were both created by me.
Were you part of the Derek Zoolander Kids for
No,
Kids
the group
Who Can't
that I
Read
created,
group?
the group that I created was We Love Carrot. Carrot was this cat. It was like a neighborhood cat that used to hang out in the quads, and was very friendly. So I made the group We Love Carrot, and that was the most popular group on campus for like my freshman year. And then we also made fans of, I don't remember her name, but she was like a lady that worked in the dining hall, and it was like fans of her.
Crush on the lady with the at the dining hall there.
Well, no. Crush.
That was the original OnlyFans.
An understatement. Yeah, Groups was the original OnlyFans because I don't know about you, but didn't like every college have a like 25 hottest girls at Studio Oneonta group?
Yeah, that
exactly.
was like wasn't that like New Bombs World?
Was it? You're thinking of E-Bombs.
That was the list, right?
But
E-Bombs World. Yeah.
E-Bombs World was like a game site. Yeah. Wasn't it? Is that what it was?
I don't know. So long ago. We're old. Do you think Josh Allen should win MVP, though? Getting back on track here with the Bills.
MVP or MVP?
Let's get back on track. Speaking of people who probably could have won the aggro crag when they were in their youth, Josh Allen.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he won the MVP. Do you think he should win the MVP, most valuable player?
I mean, if it's my understanding that the criteria of the award is that they're the most valuable player to their teams, as though, in other words, which player, if this player was to go like out for the year, would it be like the most impactful to their team? Which team leans on this player the most? It's Josh to the Bills. What would our record be without him? Not
easily.
Good. Yeah, right. So
if you put Lamar on the Bills, they don't make the playoffs, right? Like Lamar's stats were middling at best. He was 15th in passing yards. He was 11th in passing TDs, 6th in total yards. It's including rushing yards, so I'm not excluding those by any means. But Josh was far superior in a lot of categories. I actually think, like, not being a homer or anything, I think it should go to Christian McCaffrey. Like, he was easily the best running back in the league on one of the best teams in the league. He was first in every major category: touchdowns, total yards, receiving yards for running back. Like, he was in first in everything. Like, and if this was the year to not give it to a quarterback, this is the year to do it, because McCaffrey, and I would put Tyreek Hill in this conversation too if he didn't get hurt towards the end of the year and actually crack 2,000 yards. But this is the year to give it to Christian McCaffrey. He was excellent throughout the year. And it shouldn't be just a quarterback award to me.
Oh, I agree. But if I may counterpoint, if Christian McCaffrey wasn't on the team, I think the 49ers would still be very good.
Maybe. You think so with Brock Purdy? I mean, Mike Florio said Brock Purdy can't be a good quarterback because his last name rhymes with Turdy. So that's a qualifying aspect of being a good quarterback. How much you can rhyme your last name with
but he
childish
just completely changed my mind. The turdy argument is rock solid.
The turdy argument is rock solid. Allen doesn't have a funny child school ground degrading nickname to give him that rhymes with Allen, does he? Purdy
Well,
and
now
Turdy.
just going through the
How could he
alphabet,
give?
of course.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Exactly. Let's get into our end of season awards, though. We did the mid-season awards, and we'll recount those here as we go through the awards. We repeat these awards mid-season, before the season, after the season, and see if things change, see if things stay the same, it's status quo. But we always like to put our own witty spin on it. Tony, are you ready for the Bills' end of season awards?
Yes.
We will kick it off with the first award. He's in our intro, named after the great Bills tight end, because there haven't been a lot. Robert Royal, and this is, of course, the Royal Award. And who has been a fresh of breath air, as quoted by Robert Royal? Who has been a fresh of breath air for the Buffalo Bills this season? And the midseason, Tony, you said Leonard Floyd. I said Terrell Bernard. Tony, who is your pick? Is it still Leonard Floyd, or are you changing who you thought was a fresh of breath air for the Bills this year?
So, truly, I think in the essence of who is a fresh of breath air, like who was refreshing like a fresh of breath air, I am not going to not give it to Floyd. I'm going to give it to Rasul Douglas, who came in as a fresh of breath air, revived the secondary, made us believe the secondary was like not just capable, but good again. And then when he really turned it on towards the end, I felt refreshed. I was not tired in the morning. Colors were brighter. He really brought it. Leonard Floyd was good. Really good pickup. Really good pickup. Obviously, cannot argue that.
Tailed off.
Yeah, statistically did okay. Of course, tailed off more towards the end. But, there's a million factors with that. But Rasul Douglas, I found to be more refreshing. And maybe it's just because he came in, partway through the season. It might be that, but that's also kind of the essence of the award.
He came in like gangbusters too, like not only picking up a new defensive scheme. And when I say he came in like gangbusters, he made his mark right away. The first practice, when he didn't participate, the reason he didn't participate and he was on the injury report was because he just got here, according to the Bills. And apparently that is a viable and credited injury designation that you just got here. So you can use that. You can use that when you don't want to do the dishes because I just got home from work. Or you can not fold the laundry because I just got here. I'm hurt. I can't do anything around the house.
I'm gonna go into school tomorrow and say I need a sub for my first class because I just got here.
Yeah, right. Too tired. I just got here. I don't know the scheme well enough here. No, it's a great pick. And he also came in gangbusters. Yeah, exactly. He also came in gangbusters on the stat sheet too. I think he had 4 turnovers or in his first 3 games, something along those lines. And it's an interesting conversation now as we move into next year. Hopefully Trey White comes back. That's still up in the air at this point. Mentally and physically, we don't know where his head's at, and we haven't really heard a lot from him directly. So it'll be interesting to see how we bring him back into the fold. But when he went down and they traded for Rasul Douglas, him and Benford, more power, and this is my pick for a fresh of breath air, Christian Benford, made quite the tandem.
Yeah.
I thought Christian Benford had a fantastic season. Advanced stats show he had a fantastic season. And for a guy who was a very late round pick out of a very small school, out of a very unknown program at Villanova, he's made his mark in year 2 in a big way. So he is my fresh of breath air, not only in his technique, but just like the dude is surprising when he's out there. Not only him making plays, deflecting passes, but doing things like catching Tyreek Hill in the open field. And like he just surprises you, and he goes about it in such a ho hum way. It's just like He's not really flashy. He doesn't trash talk. He's not like a Jair Alexander for the Packers who's like running his mouth every 2 seconds.
Mhm.
He just goes about Christian Bedford just goes about his business with his face tattoos and whatever, and just gets it done. And that's all I ask for is a guy who just gets it done. So when you look at the next year secondary and especially the cornerback position, you have Rasul Douglas with 1 year left on his contract. You have Benford on a rookie deal. You have Elam on a rookie deal. You have White coming back, and maybe there's a restructure there. But what does that look like? Because you have 3 very capable starters. Maybe Elam figures it out. That's just way too many pieces in the same room to me. What do you think?
No, I believe in depth. So, and professionalism.
You believe in depth
I
and
believe in
injuries?
depth. I definitely believe in injuries. I'm always expecting the worst to happen with injuries. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, ultimately, when we look back on the season, a lot of people are going to say that's what got us. So no, I want the top 6 corners in the league to all be on the Bills, and then I'll be satisfied. And the same goes for every position.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And Brandon Beane has done a great job of building the depth on this roster to account for insurance reasons you need to be insured at positions like cornerback. Kyer Elam's going to be the interesting one. It's like, are we ready to cut bait?
Mm-hmm.
Do we move him to safety, even though his skill set I don't think fits a safety, but who knows? And especially with a Bobby Babich defense now, how will that look different? So
Mm-hmm.
I look at other first round picks in years past that have their teams have cut bait with them, the teams that have drafted them, such as like Trey Lance. The Niners gave up a king's ransom to get Trey Lance, move up to get him. And then within his rookie contract, they cut bait with him and they were okay with it. So the Bills, I think, can afford to do that with Elam because of Benford's rise in his performance. But something I don't know if Brandon Beane likes to do, other than in the most dire situations, a la like Cody Ford, is to kind of admit he's wrong, especially with high draft picks. Like Cody Ford was never going to see the field, and he wasn't very good, and that the writing was on the wall there. But the flashes we've seen from Kyrie Elam, he kind of pops sometimes. Yeah, there's a holding call here and there. Yeah, he gets beat here, but when he splashes big. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Tony, you ready to move on to our next award?
Yes, I am. Wow.
And viewers, listeners, make sure if you haven't yet, we're going to play it off. Are you playing me off like the Oscars? Make sure you hit that like, please, on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, hit that like. Please share if you can. And make sure you comment. Let us know who you think should win our dumb made up awards here. Our next award is the Fred Jackson 5 Award. Of course, Jackson 5, famous for their song I Want You Back. So who or what, I won't leave it to just a player or a coach or anything, but what do we want back?
You threw me off with this. You really threw me off with this banner because I was all ready with my answer, and now I'm rethinking everything about what do I want back. So I'm thinking of all the what's could be.
All the what's the what could be.
Yeah, I think that made sense. Of what the what's could be.
In a weird like Willy Wonka type world, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and in the English language. I will go with a player, I guess, for the sake of brevity. I want, and I hope that it gets maybe existential in this, but I want back the Von we knew.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, like I don't want
Von that once was.
Yeah, I want back the Von that once was. I want the first time. I want Von back in his form the first time he put on red, white, and blue. And
I like that.
Yeah, that's who I want back. That would really complete things up.
I think so. Does Von want to be the Von we once had. I mean, he's making $3 million a tackle. It's a nice little paycheck for doing very little work.
That's the thing. It's like, do you get the sense that Von is such a professional that like he doesn't care?
Explain.
Like he's content with whatever level he's on. He's making tons of money. He has made tons of money. He's protected. His career is protected essentially. Like his legacy cannot be damaged. Basically, I mean, he got into legal trouble and had an awful season, and I don't think his legacy has been damaged. So he's like,
Right.
I think he's at a point where mentally he's like, yeah, I know what to do. I know what my routine is. That's enough. And however it shakes out is how it shakes out. Like that's enough for him because he gets results that are good enough for him.
I think that last sentence is kind of where I'm at. Like, what's good enough for Von? And I think what's good enough for Von, knowing Von is the biggest BSer in the organization's history,
Right.
and Von truly believes whatever Von spurts out of his mouth. I think no matter where Von is to everyone else, whether he's an elite player or a middling $3 million per tackle guy who doesn't really have an impact on a game, that's our scale. To Von, his scale is always he's the best. So even if he's a middling player, in his mind, in his words, he's the best. So I don't know what to take of that, but if Von wants to be the best, and he wants to be this consummate professional, and stop talking and start producing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. It's a big call out, but a fair call out.
I mean, we're paying him enough money. Like, he's supposed to be the guy to defensively get us over the hump. He was supposed to be the guy that closes games when we play KC in the playoffs. Like, if I'm not getting that guy, I don't want anything to do with you. Sorry. Like, I don't need another Shaq Lawson who's like kind of okay at everything. Like, and he's good at sealing an edge, but I want guys that get to the quarterback every single snap, collapse the pocket, create pressure, get the quarterback off balance. I want that guys who do that every single snap. And we talked about Leonard Floyd, and I'm going to throw AJ Epinesa in here too. Like, I mentioned it last week, and I'll mention it again because you were not, Tony, but Leonard Floyd and AJ Epinesa combined in the last 8 weeks of the season for 2.5 sacks total. Like, I don't want those guys anymore. I don't care if your motor runs out and you're injured, whatever. Like, get to the quarterback. You have one job. It's like a receiver. It's like, yeah, Gabe Davis, okay, he does things okay, he blocks okay, but your one main job is to catch a football. You're your defensive edge. Your one main job is to get to the quarterback. And if you're not doing that on a marginally consistent basis, I'm ready to move on from you. And I hope Bobby Babbage has like a new mentality, because whatever Brandon Beane's mentality was, whatever Leslie Frazier's, whatever Sean McDermott's was whatever in regards to the defensive edge position, I don't think it's worked. So hopefully they get younger, they get faster, they get quicker, they get twitchier. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, twitchier is basically what I'm thinking. And, you know, we commented many times throughout the season that we like the aggression. But I wish it just didn't take as much aggression and play calling to get the pressure. Like, can we just get consistent enough pressure and then really shower it on with some aggressive play calling?
Right.
Like, there was the gap between calling a blitz or I should say, like, the amount of liability in calling a blitz, even though our blitzes were often effective. Like, when they weren't effective, obviously you're victimized by that. So the amount of liability that was called in calling blitz was too much.
Yeah. And sometimes it just seemed like forced, and they called blitz for the sake of calling blitz. It's like the Broncos game is a perfect example, and they called 2 jailbreak blitzes in a row. I've never seen a team do that before. And mainly I've never seen a team do that before because it doesn't really work the second time around. Like you send everybody the
Yeah.
first time and you catch them off guard, it works. But guess what? When you do it the next time, and especially if the next time is the snap after that happened, usually
Right.
won't work, and it didn't, and it bit them in the butt. So
Mhm.
that's a good pick. I like that. I like the Vaughn we once knew. I'm gonna go with really the one of the stars, or I should say, a group of stars throughout the season of who I want back. Give me the corgis back. Give me those
Yes.
corgi races during halftime. We
All the
need the
time.
corgis back. We are 1-0 when the corgis are the halftime show.
Good point.
We are whatever, and we're not undefeated when the Stampede's the halftime show or Pee Wee Football's the halftime show. Even though Pee Wee Football versus mascots is always entertaining, I will always sign up for that. Give me the corgis back. I want like a corgi racing league to happen during half times of games. I want to see like rankings on the
Yeah.
jumbotron. I want to
Yeah.
see like signs in the crowd, fan
Stats and
clubs. I
advanced
want this thing
stats.
to expand.
I want to be able to bet the
Advanced
corgis
stats, yes.
on DraftKings.
Yes, I want this to be elevated to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to go like minor league baseball with it. Just
Mhm.
corgi day at the at the Ralph. Like I just want to bring the corgis back. Like everything was better with corgis. What can I say?
That's life. So yeah,
Uh,
I think
but
that's a great pick.
if I were to actually pick a play, yeah, if I were to actually pick a player though, I can't wait till Matt Milano comes back. Honestly, like
Of
that's going to
course.
be the
Of
big one.
course.
Of course, he's awesome. He's awesome, and he would have been extremely helpful, especially in that Kansas City game. Of course, he'd be extremely helpful, as all and most all pro players are throughout the season in every single game. But that Kansas City game would have been huge to have him. I feel like we really lost a lot with AJ Klein. Yes, nice story during the wild card round, but very exposed during that Kansas City game for his lack of passive coverage ability and things like that. So Matt Milano, if I were to pick a player, but corgis are more important than Matt Milano. Let's priorities,
100%.
people, priorities. 100%. Our next award, the Marshawn Award, presented by Applebee's. One of my favorite Bills videos ever. I guess it's not. It was like kind of like a Sunday NFL countdown video, not a Bills per se video, but
Yeah, it's like a Trey
Marshawn
Wingo,
at
right?
Applebee's. Was it Trey Wingo or Scott Van
Was
Pelt? I
it?
think it was Trey
I
Wingo.
think it was a Trey Wingo. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was before Van Pelt's time. Marshawn at Applebee's, squirting the soda gun, and obviously Applebee's is I shouldn't say was past tense, is the biggest hot spot in the world, and especially in Buffalo. I love Applebee's. 2 for $20. They got endless boneless wings going on now. Shout out Applebee's. It's amazing. But this award, of course, is for the best performance from a Bill off the field or anything related to the Bills organization off the field. Who are you giving your Marshawn Award for at the end of the season here?
Matt, I think that the award I'm going to give is pretty much self-explanatory when you hear the award recipient's name as to the best performance off the field. Even though this performance was, I guess, technically on the field, but not during regulation. My award is going to Peppa Pig.
The true celebrity at the Chiefs game.
The biggest celebrity. Yes, exactly. The biggest celebrity to grace the stadium this year.
To grace one Bills drive. Absolutely.
Yes,
A
absolutely.
global phenomenon.
No one was bigger.
No one was
I think
bigger.
all
Peppa's a good one.
all Peppa Pig did was like come out of a box and wave, and that's all Peppa Pig needed to do. Got
That's
me.
all it took. All it took for Tony to get satisfied.
Yeah, in that moment, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say Peppa, show some class, put some pants on. That's all I'm saying.
No, keep the
You're in
pants
front of
on,
70,000 people.
baby.
Don't Winnie the Pooh
It's
it
a
here,
look.
Peppa. Come on,
It's a look.
let's throw some class out there. It's a look. It's a trend. Great off the field performance from Peppa Pig. I will go with a Bills player because I think this is a performance. I'm going to go with Stefan Diggs, off-season talk tracks.
Oh, okay.
We
I
are
agree.
2 weeks
I
out
think it was
of,
performative.
of the Bills
Yeah.
season. I think it's performative too.
Mhm.
I think he does it on purpose. I think it gets him the interviews. It gets him media time. I think he likes that. I think not that I'm speaking in a negative connotation to any of this stuff because I really don't know like what bad he said these past 2 weeks, but it's just like, can we just put the kibosh on like Stefan Diggs not wanting to be a Bill? I'm so sick of it already. It's 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
It's not even the NFL season's not even done yet. We still have the Super Bowl, and we're already talking about this. Like we're partying like it's June 2023. Like, let's just stop it. Like, he's gonna be a Bill. I think he wants to be a Bill. There's nothing that ever has happened that from him directly that has indicated he doesn't want to be a Bill. It's not like he's on the sidelines before games moping, like, how can I get traded? How can I get out of Buffalo? No, he's like interacting. He's a star here. Why wouldn't you, that's the whole reason like I hate this narrative is because
Mhm.
it's the Caleb Williams thing. Like a lot of rumors about potential number one pick Caleb Williams, quarterback out of USC. It's like he doesn't want to go to Chicago. Why not? Like
Yes, he
if you went
does.
to Chicago
He, come
and
on.
turn that, first of all, it's a major city. So
Right.
I don't know why. Chicago's an awesome city too. It's like one
I
of my
love
favorite
Chicago.
cities.
I've had a good
Shout
time in
out Chicago.
Chicago. Yeah.
Chicago's great. It's awesome. It's clean. It's
I lost my
awesome.
credit card in Chicago. If any Chicagoan listeners are out there, if you find my credit card, hit me up with a DM.
Please contact Tony. Leave a comment if you have Tony's credit card
This was in
and you live in the
2018.
Chicago area.
So, yeah,
Oh, still could be out there. Still could be out there.
still good. Yeah.
But no, it's like if you go to that franchise and turn it around for all the years they've had middling, with Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields, like you would be a god to that fan base. Statues and children's hospital wings. Like
Yeah.
Stefan Diggs, if he helps bring a Super Bowl to Buffalo, he will be a god
Mhm.
for this fan base, for this city. Like, where else could you get that? You want to go to the Panthers and like they don't care. You want to go to the Cowboys where they've won Super Bowls already? They don't care. Here, if you get it done, you would be idolized. I don't know why any NFL player would shy away from that or not like that. Forget
I
the
think
financial
that
aspects of this whole conversation.
I think that I know. Like, I think any player is satisfied with whatever team in that situation. Like, your dream is to be a franchise NFL quarterback. It's what you've worked literally your whole life for. It's what people always told you were going to be able to do if you played it right. And now this kid is set up to be the number one pick in the draft. Chicago is like, I mean, like that would be a huge dream to be able to take a storied franchise and be, and like prove that you can be a major part,
Yeah.
if not the main character of that story, especially for a place like Chicago. That's like, the knock on Chicago's history has always been that they've never had a good quarterback, like a legendarily, truly good quarterback.
Right.
I mean,
They really haven't. I mean, Jim McMahon is the closest thing.
Yeah,
like,
I know. Yeah, that's what I'm
Jim
saying.
McMahon was like,
who's next? Rex
Gym
Grossman?
class
I
all-star.
mean, right.
Kyle Orton probably.
Actually, it actually might be. It actually might be Kyle Orton.
Right.
And don't knock him. I love Kyle
Orton.
Orton. So yeah, we love Kyle Orton.
Yeah, we will never say anything bad about Kyle Orton. He is the man.
Can I change my I want it back award to Kyle Orton?
I think so. I think we both convinced ourselves that we should change our award back to Kyle Orton. I want Kyle Orton back too. Who doesn't love Kyle Orton? I always thought like if Keanu Reeves needed a stunt double in John Wick, it should have
Mhm.
been Kyle Orton.
Wow.
It should have been perfect
Keanu Reeves
because he's the man.
needed like a beer gutted
Yeah.
half-wit actor to be a stunt double. Kyle Orton could
before and after.
probably do some things.
Probably. Listeners, viewers, if you haven't yet, hit that like. Please give us a comment. We really appreciate any love. It takes 1 second. Just hit that like and show us some love here. We really appreciate it. Our next award, we got 2 more left. Our penultimate award, if you will. The Zay Award in honor of Zay Jones for the member of the Bills you don't want to be in a hotel with. Because nobody wants to be in a hotel with Zay Jones based on his past. And maybe future, too, because Zay's a free agent. I was kind of thinking, like,
So he's probably
that
doing a
might
lot
be
of
a nice
drugs.
little cheap signing. Like, let's get him. I never minded Zay. Like, I thought he's a good player. I still think he's a decent player. And if you can get him on a cheap $2 million contract for a year, prove it deal, yeah, I'm all about that for a fifth receiver. So maybe this award is coming back home. But the member of the Bills you don't want to be in a hotel with, Tony, your midseason choice was Sam Martin. And my midseason choice was, of course, because I gave such praise to Corgis, my midseason choice was the Stampede. I don't want anything to do with the Stampede. Are you keeping Sam Martin, or are you changing your award?
No, I'm changing my award to John Butler. Because he's
the deceased GM or the former DB coach?
The newly former DB coach. Because he
Okay.
no, it's well now I'm changing
clarify?
I'm changing it to John Butler, the deceased GM, because why would I want a dead body in the room? It sounds gross.
Well, that's
I don't
very
want
gross.
that.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose a living being, then I'm going to choose John Butler, the DB coach. He's pissed.
Probably hired Kyle Orton to remove that dead body.
Right. that tracks. That tracks.
You would do it. Kyle Orton's the guy that's like, any $20 odd job, Kyle Orton's like, yeah, I'll do it. No hesitation.
Right. Yeah, I'll do it. I will say, like, as we were talking about this, I thought I was going to take John Butler based on his negative attitude. But when we were talking about Kyle Orton, I'm like, maybe I should give this Zay award to Kyle Orton, assuming he smokes in the room. He probably thinks it's okay to smoke in the room. And
absolutely.
I don't want to be part of that. So I thought about changing it to that.
And probably keeps one of those like spit bottles, the tobacco spit bottles.
Oh, of course. You know those are all over the bedroom.
Kyle Orton does that.
Yeah, of course. You know, absolutely Kyle Orton does that.
Big Kyle Orton there. John Butler, though, newly former Bills position coach. He's ticked. He's disgruntled. Yeah, big disgruntled guy.
There's a fairness to what he's saying, I guess.
Why do you think he's disgruntled? Because he didn't get the DC job that Bobby Babich got?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I think that confidently that he's disgruntled, and that was like a huge part of this mutual parting ways, was that he's disgruntled because he didn't get the defensive coordinator job. And it's fair, like he did a fantastic job with all but one of the cornerbacks, and they did. And that was always our bread and butter. We can assume, I guess, it was him. Like, I think a lot of people are assuming, well, that's McDermott. McDermott has a great track record of creating cornerbacks. But John Butler, as that position coach, John Butler as a position coach did do an excellent job. But so did Bobby Babich. Bobby Babich is also someone I really think highly of. So I can't knock the Bills for doing what they did, especially because Bobby Babich was in demand and was probably going to be a DC somewhere. So to keep him, you make him DC of us. We have the open position.
Exactly.
And I think he's deserving, and I totally get that. So I think it's fine there. So for that reason, especially that I'm not on the Butler side in this conflict, I don't want to share a hotel room with John Butler, to hear him bitching and moaning all the time.
Yeah, and that's the difference, right? Like
Mhm.
John Butler, probably a great coach, wasn't getting defensive coordinator interviews. Like Bobby
Right.
Babbage is a rising star. We talked about this
Mhm.
last week when we had Izzy from Red Zone Report on as a guest. Like the first time I heard Bobby Babbage speak this past offseason, immediately I thought, I want to hear Bobby Babbage speak every week. He's intelligent, he's knowledgeable, he speaks kind of like 101, but makes it sound really smart. And he
Uh-huh.
just seems like he reminded me of the defensive version of Chad Hall. Different results in the end.
Mhm.
Chad Hall leaves for a lateral move. Bobby Babbage gets promoted internally, but I don't think they if they didn't promote Babbage, they would have lost him. And John Butler can be ticked as all he wants to be about it, but that's the reality, and that's probably the reality of just the NFL in general. Um, so, oh well, like we get a new secondary coach now from University of Miami. Can't recall his name. He looks like Sterling K. Brown from This Is Us, so that's a good thing. Uh, and there's a safety in Kitchens that I really like coming out of the draft from Miami. So all the pieces might be Bills might have shown their hand a little there with that hiring for sure. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be in a hotel with a disgruntled John Butler. That's for sure.
And like, what's this guy? How old is this guy? Is this guy?
John Butler?
Yeah.
It's like a 40. Yeah,
Let's
let's just say 40.
40. Let me see here.
Let's
Yeah,
look it up real
I
quick.
kind of think maybe he's older than that. I'm like, I don't know, like disgruntled guy, boomer vibes. 1973.
50 years old. Old fogey. Get him out of here. This is a young man's league, John Butler.
Yeah.
Go back to your rocking chair on your porch. Your little house on the prairie.
Yeah. Whittle me something. Don't you whittle yourself?
Oh, don't talk about whittle. Oh, see, if John Butler was a whittler, as everyone knows in Bill's Mafia, he'd be like GM by now. Terry's a big whittler.
Is Terry a big whittler? I did not know that.
Terry's a big whittler. Yeah, loves to whittle the wooden clocks.
He does the clocks.
He whittles away. He does the clocks.
Not Terry's though. Wow. I didn't. How did I not know that?
I think it was like part of like an interview. Not with Terry, but with someone who didn't get the head coaching job that I believe went to McDermott. I do remember this because I always pictured how funny it would be if like some candidate walks into Terry's office and there's just a bunch of like poorly made wooden clocks just surrounding the office. And Terry's like first question is like, "You like my clocks?" And if it's a yes or a no, and you have to say with a straight face, like if you really want the job, it's like, yeah, they're really good, even though they're not. But he's the owner, so you can't say. I always pictured like that scenario playing out.
Yes, it's like he's got enablers everywhere around him.
Yes, like great job, Mr. Pagula.
Yep, this is
those
such
clocks
a nice clock.
look great.
Mm-hmm.
It goes from not 1 to 2, but 1 to 7. But that's okay. Still counts.
1 to 7, Josh Allen, baby. That's how you do it.
1 to 7. That's right. That's why I said those numbers. My choice for the Zay Award, the guy I would not want to be in a hotel with. Oh, this is a tough one for me. I think I gotta go with, and he's just irked me the wrong way for a while now, and that's Tyler Matakevich.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, like listeners, viewers know I'm a big vibes guy. I don't like the vibes Tyler Matakevich is giving off. Like very Paul Bunyan, very Game of Thrones. protecting the wall, kind of like I'm just uncomfortable with his whole deal. The look and the fact that like I don't know what he does. Like he's a special teams player that doesn't really ever seem to make a good special teams impact or a big special teams impact. Like makes like maybe one tackle a year where you're like, okay, that was good coverage, but I don't know. It's like what would you say you do here? It's like an Office Space thing.
It's one of those. Maybe that should be an award on our WTF.
Yeah. What would you say you do here?
Thing. Yeah, the Office Space Award, or what were their names? Like they had the same name. What were the two consultants' names? Like it wasn't the Mikes, but it was like the.
Yeah, it was something. They did have the same names because
right.
Ron Livingston's character like mentions it.
Right.
I can't recall. Maybe if you're in the comments and seen Office Space and know who the two consultants' characters are, please let us know. Drop a comment. Tony, you ready for our final award?
Yeah, sure. You should go first.
It's our most important award, named after the most important player maybe in the organization's history. The most important player on the Bills was once a Bill, who probably should be on the Wall of Fame by now, and that, of course, is Ruvel Martin, my favorite Bill of all time, solely for the fact that he was on the team, then he was off the team, then he was on the team, then he was off the team, and then 2 weeks later they brought him back, elevated him, and then 3 weeks later kicked him off the team just to put him back on the practice squad 3 days later. Like, the biggest flip-flopper ever. Michael Scott, snip, snap, snip, snap. That was Ruvel Martin, to a T. So, the Ruvel Martin Award we give to the Bills player that is on the team that we want off the team, or the Bills player that is off the team that we would want on the team. So I will go first, and my Ruvel Martin Award goes to, drum roll please, because it's a big award, Cam Lewis.
Ooh.
Player
a traitor to Erie County. Okay.
I'm over it. Traitor to UB, traitor to Erie County. Cam Lewis on the team, off the team. I don't want Cam Lewis on the team. Yes, he's pretty good and can fill in, be the fourth guy at a various amount of positions, whether it's the fourth safety or the third nickel slot corner or the fourth or fifth cornerback. But give me more starting caliber guys at those positions. I don't want to see the fifth best guy come in or the fourth best guy. Cam Lewis, I love you. I think he's very decent for his cost. His return on investment is very good. I'm ready to just hit the upgrade button a little. So the Bill I want off the team that is currently on the team is Cam Lewis. I think he's a free agent this year, so I'm sure they'll keep him around in some capacity. So we're just going to throw him into this bucket here. So I picked Cam Lewis, trader to Erie County, trader to UB. Is he coming in? AJ Epinesa is a good one as well. Guy I don't want back for the Bills. I mentioned earlier his lack of production towards the end of the season. I don't need to see that. Too many times he's disappeared. AJ Epinesa is a good pick as well. Tony, Cam Lewis, like him, love him, smash pass.
I hope Cam Lewis is still on the team. I don't agree with you. I think you made the case against it. His versatility is important. Big savior of a roster spot. I think this time, I mean, I remember not so many weeks ago that you were like, Tony, is Cam Lewis good? And, you know, I think that there's value there. There's value in the versatility. I would rather see Cam Lewis on the team. And like you're saying you want to just upgrade that spot. Like now you're talking like me, that you want the 5 best corners in the league to all be Buffalo Bills. We're talking about
you convinced me. You swayed me.
Okay. We're talking about a very deep position here. And I mean, yeah, there have been times when he's had to step in to be a corner. But geez, like, do you dedicate that roster spot to someone who can step in and be the corner if that emergency situation rises up? Or do you dedicate that roster spot more to someone who has the talents of versatility, who has the talents of special teams, who has the talents of, being a depth player who can provide more than just doing that? You get it.
No, I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying, and I think it's a very valid argument. The salary cap, while I don't think it's a real thing, is supposedly a real thing, is going to come and catch up with us eventually with Josh Allen. And yes, there can be restructures galore, but I just think like you need to find more Christian Benfords. I'm really on a Christian Benford kick tonight. You need to find guys cheap, young, who can be elevated into starting spots, and who can play their way into starting spots. I'm sick of the Bills drafting, especially maybe in late rounds, guys who fit like a special teams player or dedicating money in free agency to special teams type player. Like, I'm naive. I'm naive when it comes to special teams I think anyone can play special teams. It's not hard to play special teams. It's running down the field and covering or downing a ball or making a tackle or making sure a punt's not blocked. I don't think it's very hard to play special teams, especially when special teams is kind of like on the way out with all the touchbacks and now the fair catches and on kickoffs and whatnot. It's Barney Stinson to me from How I Met Your Mother. Like, how do you run a marathon?
Now you're speaking language.
Step 1, you run. Step 2, there is no step 2. That's special teams to me. Like, how do you play special teams? You run. There is no step 2. You make a tackle, maybe step 2, but there is no step 3. So I think it's like very easy. That's my mentality. So I don't need the Cam Lewis. I need a guy who can be a starting level caliber player. So that's my 2 cents about it.
Okay, well, I guess maybe part of the reason I'm hoping that you're wrong and that I'm hoping he's on the team is because I'm also taking someone from a similar position.
Okay.
And I
Don't
like
do
QB. Do you already think you know where I'm going? I mean, I feel like I've always been a believer.
I feel like I do.
I've always been a believer in him until the last game. And then to me, the last game, that fake punt made me believe this man is, I guess, a liability. This man is like, if this man is essentially a distraction, is kind of how I'm seeing it. Like, we have to find ways. We have to pump his highlight. We have to create a highlight reel for him for tonight at the NFL Honors. So when he wins Comeback Player of the Year, they have something to play. Is that what we're doing? I hate to say it, but if this is what it's going to be, if it's going to be a distraction, if it's going to be gadgets and gizmos aplenty, then I'd rather just ditch the headache and have DeMar Hamlin be elsewhere.
And who's it's and what's it's galore. Yep. I knew you were going to go there.
As
soon as you like.
He's number 3. So.
And he's got ambulances with his number on it. I don't. Was that weird during the season? By the way, like, they had the ambulance with DeMar's number, and that made total sense. And then they get just a little bit of flack for it.
Because it was an away game.
And then a week later, it's gone. No, that was a home game.
Wait, what do you mean a week later it's gone? No, I mean that he died.
Like, they took the numbers off the ambulance windows.
Oh, I did not notice that. Okay.
I'm talking this year. Like, they had the
it wasn't an ambulance numbers from that medical family, you know.
Yeah, I think it was the game Damian Harris got hurt that they brought out the ambulance. They had the DeMar in the back windows, or the Hamlin 3, and then it was just gone. I'm like, what was wrong? What was wrong with that? You got a little bit of flack for I don't know. I didn't think anything was wrong with that. But that was a nice ode to the medical staff for saving a man's life. So, but to your point,
Yeah.
seemed like the Bills are distracted. They had the Hamlin numbers in the ambulance. They take them away a week later. Like,
snip, snap, snip, snap.
snap, snap. The fake punt was, I mean, one of the 5 worst plays ever run by a team, a Bills team. Colt
hated it,
Anderson,
yeah.
fake punt level. It made no sense. And if Matthew Smiley keeps his job this season or this offseason, I'll be shocked. I think as many will, and I think he will keep his job. Footnote, because again,
I think
special
so too.
teams, there's so much like differential variables to it. It's like one year you could be really bad special teams, and the next year you could, with the same players, be the best special teams unit. There's no rhyme or reason to special teams, so I think he's in. Matthew Smiley's in with Sean McDermott. Not like who was the guy before him? Heath Farwell. Who's the guy who got canned after KC?
Yeah, I feel like that was his name. That sounds right.
Is Heath Farwell? I think it's right. But anyway, why call that play? Like, it was the absolute wrong time to call it in the wrong position on the field, and it was the absolute wrong person to call it with, like, a run to DeMar Hamlin on the short side of the field. Now it's not only 4th and 4 where he needs to get 4 yards. You snapped it back 6 or 7 yards, and he needs to run for 10 yards on the short side of the field. Whereas if you're gonna do that, do it with a weapon. Put Deontay Hardy Harris in there. Like, put Trent Sherfield. Don't put DeMar Hamlin, who I probably hasn't seen a carry since his high school days, I'm assuming. Because he's probably good enough to do everything in high school.
I was gonna say, yeah.
It was odd. Yeah, I mean, it's. Are we past the point now where it's more than like a good story, and now we're just kind of focused on his play on the field? Or will it always just be like a PR nightmare for the Bills? Like, I really do feel like the reason they kept him on, I think he earned his spot this year because we were so.
I think so too. Yeah.
Shallow at safety in terms of depth, but as we get younger, as Bobby Babich puts his mark on this defense, like, are the Bills gonna say this was a story? Like, do they want to deal with the PR? Can surpass the PR nightmare of maybe releasing a DeMar Hamlin because his play on the field's not really that great? I don't know. That's the call they need to make.
That's the essence of I guess that's the essence of what I'm saying is, but I'm already making the call for them. Yeah. And I'm making the call to say that holistically this is like can't we just it's tiring. Can't we just give ourselves one less thing to worry about? You know?
As Bills fans, yeah, we could use a lot less things to worry about.
Right. Now I gotta worry about like finding ways to make DeMar Hamlin be in the spotlight.
Yeah, right. I guess. So those are our awards. Tony, any other comments about the awards or anything before we move on to our Super Bowl prop bets? Super Bowl week, of course. Super Bowl on Sunday. Are you ready to move on, or would you like the last word here?
No, the last word is that I'm really hoping for all Bills, especially DeMar Hamlin, at tonight's NFL Honors.
Yes, I hope all Bills win, of course.
Yes, I hope
all Bills if DeMar Hamlin doesn't win Comeback Player of the Year, that's the biggest farce ever.
That would just be insane.
People are mad because DeMar Hamlin.
Crazy.
Like, if anybody reads any context to the Comeback Player of the Year award, it's not a performance-based award. Like,
right.
The fact that he just came back is more than enough to win that award.
I would say it's a disappointment. Anything less than it becomes the DeMar Hamlin Award for Comeback Player of the Year.
Oh, you think it should be named after him? Interesting.
Well, I'm saying that's where I think the hype train is.
Oh, okay. It could be named after him. I mean, Would that be weird because he's still here? I don't know.
Do we
Now
have to
I'm
wait?
distracted.
Yeah, wait until he's like retired or something? Exactly. This is what happens.
Yeah, I guess, right?
This is what happens. Yep.
This is what happens. This is the distraction we're
This is what
talking about.
happens. Yep. We get it.
Those are our end of season awards. Let's move on to our Super Bowl prop bets. Super Bowl Sunday, of course, Chiefs, Niners. And of course, we're going to pick out the most ridiculous prop bets in the world. There are exactly, according to Bet Online, 86 Taylor Swift prop bets.
Yep.
Some bet involving Taylor Swift. That is insane. Absolutely crazy. There's like 40. There's half the amount of like just straight up player prop bets. Like
I'm reading some right now. Yeah.
Specific to it's wild. So let's kick it off. Super Bowl prop bets. Let us know what you think. We'll kick it off with the funniest one to me. Player caught with escort in Vegas. Who will be the player caught with an escort in Vegas? Currently, the odds-on favorite is Jake Moody at plus 300, Nick Bosa plus 400, Deebo Samuel plus 500, George Kittle plus 600, Patrick Mahomes plus 1,200. That'd be a funny one.
Wow.
And good old Brock Purdy at plus 1,200 as well. Or Travis Kelce would be funny as well. Tony, do you think any NFL player that plays for the 49ers or the Chiefs gets caught with a Vegas escort?
Caught? Maybe. Like, that it becomes publicly known? No. These are NFL athletes. They're past the point of rich where they don't get in trouble for stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a PR story for sure. They don't might not get in trouble.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're not going to get in trouble.
Thought this was America.
If someone gets caught with an escort, the chances of us knowing about it are very slim.
I don't know. Like,
no, don't.
Based on the media day, did you watch like the media day? Usually, media day is just guys sitting at tables. Like, this was like a show. This was like a concert. Like, there was introductions for the teams. Andy Reid looked absolutely miserable. Like coming out of the tunnel with the smoke. Like the last place in the world he wants to be is like the entertainment aspect of Vegas.
Yeah,
like
a Vegas style.
He looked like he was not like he is not having any of it. Like the music, the spectacle, like he's just like, get me the hell out of here. Let me go eat my cheeseburgers. So it was very funny. So I think with all the attention that was put on media day alone, and NFL players being in the spotlight as they are, like the players with an escort, they're going to get caught. And those Vegas, like, I wouldn't even call them like, I don't even know what they classify as in terms of job titles, but those people handing out like pamphlets for like escorts and places you can go are ruthless. If you've ever been to Vegas, like it doesn't matter if you are a 80-year-old man or a 12-year-old boy. They are giving you a pamphlet that probably has a picture of a naked person on there. Like they are ruthless and aggressive in giving you those pamphlets. So I could see an NFL player just falling. It's Vegas.
Being like, yeah, this seems like a pretty good idea. I should do this.
Yeah, like I can get away with this. Yeah. I can get away with this.
I'm an NFL player.
I don't know. I would not bet this if I was if you're out there betting on the game, which is going to be like 1 out of every 4 people, according to I think DraftKings or something. Like there's a stat out there. This would be the most gambled on Super Bowl in NFL history, rightfully so.
I believe that.
People having
I think that's
access
fair,
to DraftKings and FanDuel. Yeah, they said 1 out of every 4 people is going to place a bet on this, and so maybe you put a bet on if a player gets caught with an escort. I wouldn't. I don't think anyone does. So it'd be very funny though if it was like Travis Kelce after all this stuff with Taylor Swift, like he's the guy, and we can all be like, yes, it was a fake relationship for media attention. That'd be the cherry on top. Speaking of Taylor Swift,
people's brains would implode.
Oh, easily. Like nobody would care about the game.
Like the trust issues that would develop against institutions would be
Yeah,
unmendable.
absolutely. You cannot trust anything anymore.
Mm-hmm. Or anybody. If you
Like-
can't trust Taylor,
Like
or if you
Hadaway
can't
said,
trust
what is
Travis,
love?
if you can't trust Trav, then what can you trust?
Perhaps. The fact that you call him Trav doesn't make me trust you. I don't like you
That's fair.
call him Trav.
Well, I mean,
You don't know him.
I did it tongue in cheek. I did it tongue in cheek.
Speaking of Taylor Swift, our next prop bet: will Donna Kelsey hug Taylor Swift during the game?
Money in the bank.
Is
Money in
minus
the bank.
120. No is also minus 120. So equal odds. You think it's a yes?
If I have the chance to bet a lot of money on that, I'm going to, because I'm going to make money.
Really?
I mean, I'm going to make
this is
not
like a
a
sure
lot of
thing.
money. Yeah, this is like a sure thing to me. Yes.
Can I throw a twist at you and make you
Okay,
reconsider?
What if
I
she
think
doesn't? What
that
if
woman
Taylor
hates
doesn't
Taylor
make it?
Swift. Well, there's that.
don't
I
think
also
so.
think Donna Kelsey hates Taylor Swift. Like, I really do.
What's your evidence?
You see them at games, and like any camera shot that pans to Taylor Swift, Donna Kelsey is like not excited at all. Doesn't seem like she wants anything to do with Taylor or the media attention or anything.
Wow.
Just let her do her chunky soup commercials. I don't know. I'm just saying there seems to be some animosity in the Kelsey family with Taylor Swift. I don't think Donna likes her. We never see the dad. Who knows if the dad likes her or not?
I never even considered that. I never even thought about the dad.
Rumors are Jason Kelsey's wife doesn't like Taylor. Brittany's the only one that likes Taylor, Pat Mahomes' wife, because and puts Brittany in a good light
I
for
know
the first
I
time in her
don't
life.
like Brittany, so
Right.
this
Transitive
is
property says.
right. Transitive property, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You shouldn't like Taylor. And therefore Donna doesn't like Taylor. I don't think that woman likes Taylor Swift. There's no
I think she
evidence
does.
that tells me she is. So I might go with no here.
Okay.
Especially, there's also the factor of maybe they're not sitting next to each other. That's a very real possibility.
That's sure it's the Super Bowl. There's going to be a lot of people around. There's also a possibility, like Taylor might not make it to the Super Bowl.
True. And then probably the bet
That's
would
a
be
piece of
voided.
this too.
Listeners, viewers,
Right.
if you have an opinion on these prop bets, let us know. We're here to win you money, so take our advice. We actually do shockingly well when we post our picks for the Super Bowl. We hit at well above 60%. Not any other time during the year, but Super Bowl for some reason is an anomaly when it comes to us betting. So heed our advice here, if you will. Moving on, the next one. The number of patties on Andy Reid's first cheeseburger after the game. Over under 1.5. Under 1.5 minus 200. Over 1.5 plus 150. What are you going with here, Tony?
I like the over.
I do too. He
I
seems
think
like a
it's
double
2.
cheeseburger guy.
I think it's a 2. Yeah.
Absolutely. You
I
think
like the over a
Andy
lot
Reid,
here.
just look at him. You think that guy's going single patty on his cheeseburger? No.
No.
Easily a double patty guy. Who also bets on this stuff? It's like the bigger picture question here.
I'm going to after this.
Who bets on this stuff? You are. Well,
Yeah,
that's my question.
Because I believe
not only who bets on this stuff,
in
but
2 patties.
who tracks this stuff? You believe in 2 patties?
I believe in 2 patties for Andy Reid. 2 tracks of stuff is interesting because I feel like a lot of these bets, maybe not so much the ones we have mentioned, but I feel like a lot of these bets are easily manipulatable. And especially the Tony Romo bets, like this guy can't Google about what he says first and then just do it. He can make it. He can make all the money he wants. We're writing Tony Romo himself a blank check here.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like these bets, like this bet, for example, and the number of like who's monitoring this? Do they have like someone from the sports books like following Andy Reid to his post game meal? It's like checking under the bun. It's like, yep, there are 2 patties there. Okay, mark it down.
Yep.
Like who tracks this stuff?
Yeah.
Does Andy Reid call in? Hey, I'm having a double
I'm having a
stacker
double.
at Wendy's.
Do you think Wendy's is what he's gonna do in Vegas?
No, I think he goes with
No.
like an In-N-Out or something. That's one of
right.
those
Is there
like
an
fancy
In-N-Out in
West Coast
Vegas?
ones.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah. I
I
don't
had
know either.
Smash Burger for the first time a couple months ago.
Tell
Disgusting.
me about it. Oh, not a fan. Okay.
No, not at all. Very like processed tasting. Like
Ooh, hate that. Hate that. Hmm.
I got like a cheeseburger and cheese fries, and everything was very like plasticky to me.
Ooh.
Yes, it was at a like Batavia area rest stop, but still.
Okay. Rest stop like on the thruway? There was a smash burger on the thruway?
Yeah, maybe it was farther out, like towards
Okay.
past Rochester. I can't remember, but
It was
at
like a
rest
New
stop,
York
yeah.
State
And,
rest stop?
Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
it was not
I
good.
think that
I don't want
the
to see
quality
that.
of rest stops are naturally lower as it is.
Yeah, probably
Yeah. But
as is.
who knows?
Anyway.
I don't know. I can't say it because I've never had a smash burger, so I don't know. A smash burger brand.
It's not good.
Oh, I'll never have one now. Yeah.
Smash Burger brand Smash Burger. Our next prop, very popular prop at that. The length of the national anthem. This year's
very
national anthem sung by Reba McEntire.
Mm-hmm.
And they are putting the over-under at 87.5 seconds. So a minute 27.5. The over is currently favored at minus 200, with the under 87.5 seconds plus 150. Now, Tony, this is a good one to do research on. Has the singer performed national anthems in the past? There's some metrics you can go by here. Reba has performed 2 national anthems in the past, both under the 87 seconds that this line is at. And that was, I think the last one she did was the 1997 World Series. So many, many years ago. She was not 70 years old as she is today. She had more lung capacity, better pipes. Like, she's not a young person. And if she's not hitting that mark back then, now we're talking 20 plus years later, I don't think she's hitting that mark now. She's going to fly through this thing. I am pounding the under on this one.
Yep.
70 years old is going to sing for a minute and a half? No way.
Yeah, who do you think she is? Taylor Swift?
No. Look what you made me do, Tony.
Right, there you go. Well, fancy's not her name, so.
Yeah, I think the only reason to take an over. I love Reba. Reba's treasure.
We love Reba.
One of the greatest sitcoms ever.
We love Reba on this show. Huge Reba.
We love Reba. This is a Reba.
We love Reba.
Reba. Her sitcom was fantastic. Top 5 sitcoms of all time. Shout out the WB Network.
Yep. Matt, how many Reba McEntire songs can you name?
0.
Okay.
How many can you name?
Okay, so Fancy is a big one.
Okay. Is it?
Oh yeah. I'll know them like when I see the list, but oh man, it's killing me.
There you go.
The theme song from
anyway.
Duh.
Duh. How could I forget the theme song from Reba, sung by Reba? That should have been a shoo-in.
I presume.
Unbelievable.
While
you look up Reba songs,
and I will say, like, I can't believe how many of these I don't know. Like, if these are the first ones that show up on Google, I don't know what.
No, I have no idea. I don't listen to country music, so I wouldn't know anyway. The only time the national anthem is going to go over is if someone is playing an instrument. For example, last year, Chris Stapleton, awesome rendition of the national anthem. He had like a 35-second guitar solo, like because he brought the guitar up on stage with him, and he's gonna play the guitar, and he's gonna what do they call it? Vamp? I don't know. I'm not a guitar
Riff?
player. He's gonna play the guitar for a solo and take up an extended amount of time. Like that's the only time I would smash the over. I am smashing the under. I'm taking out a second mortgage. This is maybe the most sure bet I think on the board.
I like it a lot. Yeah, I like the under a lot on this one. Does He Love You is another Reba song. I feel like I know, based on Google. So anyway, yeah, I like the under. I like the under a lot. We've made. I would say of any bet that we've discussed this evening, we have given the best supporting evidence for it's the under. Everything is lined up for it to be the under.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's
But this is also
as sure as you're gonna get.
Yeah, this is also like, Reba tells her cousin, "Hey, I'm gonna drag it out, bet the over, split it with me."
That could be any of these. That could be any of these.
I guess. Yeah, there's insider knowledge, I guess.
Speaking of the anthem, will a player or coach cry during the national anthem? Last year, of course, the famous scene of Nick Sirianni, Eagles coach, crying profuse, like the biggest waterworks ever. The new crying Jordan meme, Nick Sirianni. It wasn't even like it was weird. It was weird. The dude was just standing there in his zone, drowning in his own tears for some reason. I don't know. Yes and no are both at -115. Do you think any player or coach cries during the national anthem?
No. If Andy Reid didn't cry last year, then he's not going to cry this year. Yeah. And I can't imagine.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, who's going to cry?
Right. Who's going to cry?
Like Nick Sirianni, as we've come to know, and as NFL fans come to know, is kind of like off a little. Like after that Chiefs game when he was like jostling with the Chiefs fan, like when he was interviewed and we met players for the first time, and when he got the coach, he played rock paper scissors with the players to kind of test their mental. Like he's just kind of an off guy. So him crying makes sense. I don't see anybody on the Chiefs or the Niners, especially because both teams have been there before and both coaches have been there before. I don't see anyone crying. If it was Dan Campbell, if the Lions made it, now we're straying towards the yes. Dan Campbell would definitely be a crier.
I could see that. I mean, Dan Campbell has really high highs, so I have to imagine he has really low lows.
Emotional guy
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. He seems like
he's the human personification of PC Principal from South Park.
Okay. Yeah.
For anyone who's seen South Park, PC Principal as a character, that's Dan Campbell. Tony, our next bet. So we're both taking the no on this one, and I think that's pretty sure
no
thing,
one's crying.
Right?
No one is crying. Not in an election year. No one's crying.
What does an election year have to do with this?
I don't know. People are, you're down. You're kind of like down on it. It's just, no one's crying.
No one's crying. No one's crying. Next one, as we wrap up the episode here, a couple more. Number of beers sold, over or under 120,000 during the game.
What's the capacity of this place? I mean,
the capacity is around like 80,000. I'll get the exact number here.
Okay.
The capacity is just under 72,000. So that's not even 2 beers a person. Over or under 120,000, both odds. I'm sorry, over is not favored, -115. Under is -150, according to the books. So under is actually favored, which is surprising.
Not
Like
to me. I think
70,000
it's under.
people plus. Do you really?
Yeah. I think, okay, so it's Vegas. It's a
Yes.
school night. It's,
You saying kids are drinking beer?
well, you know what I mean. Like it's
It's a
Sunday
school
night.
night. Kids aren't drinking beer.
It's Sunday night. It's Vegas. I don't think Vegas is impressed enough with the Super Bowl that it's becoming like anything special to like, really like get after it on. And I think Vegas, maybe more than most cities in the league, would be a liquor crowd. I don't think that beer would be the alcoholic beverage of choice for as many as in some other markets.
Okay. All very valid points.
I think
Now,
it's mixed drinks. Yep.
even though it's a school,
I think it's
even
wine.
it's a school night, it's wine. It's ice wine specifically. I don't know why, but it is. Yeah, why
Okay.
not?
It's sangria.
Despite it being a school night, I don't think anybody going to the Super Bowl, and if you're bringing your kids to the Super Bowl, is going to school,
Who's
is going
bringing
to
their
work the
kids to the
next
Super Bowl? No one's bringing their kids to the Super Bowl.
Why not?
Well, no one's bringing
If you
their
had a
like
chance to
kids.
go to the Super Bowl, you wouldn't
Maybe
bring
they'll
your
bring their-
kids?
Not if they were kids. Not if they're like under 15.
Not if it's in Vegas.
Yeah, that's also, I mean, I think that's a piece to it too. But to me, like going to the Super Bowl is an opportunity that you don't want to waste on a kid who's not going to appreciate it, or think it's as special as it is.
Okay.
When there's people out there who,
I can understand that.
in every, where there's people out there in anybody's life, not to degrade the kids, but if I'm thinking about like, okay, who would it mean? Like if I have 2 Super Bowl tickets, who would it mean the most to for me to bring? Like there are people who, going to the Super Bowl is a once in a lifetime opportunity for most people. It's a 0 in a lifetime opportunity for most people, but once is amazing. So I don't think that you just blow it on like your 11-year-old.
I think if you were to bring your kids, it would have to be for the team you support. I wouldn't just go bring my kids
Yeah,
to
I wouldn't
the
just,
2 random teams.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Also, it's an NFL game, so I wouldn't bring my kids in general because fights and whatnot. So
Right.
I'd avoid that. So that makes me say, like, it makes me think I should say 70,000 plus are majority of adults. Let's say 90% of adults, which are buying beer.
And like
so that's
affordability
less
is a
than
piece
2
of this
beers
too,
a person.
Yeah.
Sure. Is affordability a piece of this in Vegas, where money is spent?
Yeah, but I mean, how many people,
to say the
but
least.
most people in that stadium are not Vegas residents, are not Nevada residents.
More reason to drink. I'm going over. I like the over.
Okay.
Get a lot of beers.
I like the under.
A couple of legitimate prop bets that are related to the game, that I picked out. Get your thoughts on. 2 I really, really like. The lowest scoring quarter total points. Over 5.5 or under 5.5. Over is -120. Under is -110. I don't think there's a quarter that there's not less than 5 points scored here. Less than 6 points scored, I should say.
Oh, I could see if I'm looking at the box score, I could see a 3-0 quarter. I could see a 3-0 third quarter.
You think so? I can't.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like the Chiefs have been so proficient on offense. It just seems like they're gonna score at least a field goal per quarter. They are not going to squander drives. Not only has Chiefs been proficient on offense, the Niners defense hasn't been anything to write home about. Like they should have lost to Green Bay. They should have lost to Detroit. Now they're playing an offense that is clicking on all cylinders in the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been there before in the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
I don't know. I just don't see I just don't see a quarter where it's extremely low scoring like that. I'm taking the over on this one. I like it.
I think that's fair. I think it's a coin flip. This bet anyway.
Yeah, it's a coin flip according to the
Mhm.
odds. So I guess it depends on if you think it's going to be a shootout or not. If you think it's going to be a shootout, and I kind of do. I think it's going to be like a 31 to 27 kind of game or something like that
I
in
think so
that
too. Yeah.
range. So I don't see there being a quarter where there's under 6 points scored. Even if both teams get a field goal, you're still hitting on that one. So I like the over 5.5 there. The final one I pointed out or picked out, total first downs by the Chiefs. Over 19.5, under 19.5 is the line. Over 19
like
and
the
a half
over.
first downs, currently favored at minus 130, under plus 100. So I love the over too. The
Yeah.
Chiefs throughout the playoffs have consistently hit over 20 first downs. I think they had 23 in the Bills game. In the Ravens game, they had 25. They haven't come close to going under that 20 mark. And like I said, Niners defense, nothing to write home about so far in the playoffs. Two teams that have been there before, so you got to think the nervous jitters are kind of not going to be in play as they would for like a first time team being there, like the Eagles last year or something like that. But I think the Chiefs offense is clicking, and that's why I think they're kind of going to win this game too. Even though I don't want to admit it, and I don't want it to become a reality, I think it's just going to be too much. And the Chiefs are, if anything, just moving down the field seamlessly, collecting first downs. They're not a big play team as we've seen. It's a lot of like intermediate 10 to 15 yard stuff at most, if that. A lot of Kelsey sitting in the zone, a lot of Rasheed Rice on crossing routes, a lot of like Valdez Scantling gets 1 or 2 shots a game. But aside from that, they're not really a big play team, relying on Pacheco and their defense a lot more these days in this season than they have in the past. I just see them picking up a lot of first downs. I like the over.
Me too. I think they want to keep the offense on the field. And that's like that's how I picture their offense being designed, like you said, with intermittent plays. I like the over a lot. They're a methodical, intermittent play offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Patrick Mahomes extends plays, good at using his legs to get first down. Like it just seems like a shoe-in for the over 19.5 Chiefs first down. So those are two we like. Tony, those are our prop bets we're going to give you. We're going to give you some on Twitter X as well. So make sure you follow us there before the game. What do you say we wrap up the episode, though?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Thank you, of course, to our sponsor, Traveling Growler, www.travelinggrowler.com. Quality koozies starting at just $5 for growlers, for cups, for bottles, for cans, anything you could want there. Local business, so shop local, support local, travelinggrowler.com. Great product there. The Way Not Funny store, t-shirt, apparel store, whatever you want to call it. We got t-shirts, we got crew necks, we got hoodies, we got long sleeves. Teespring.com/wittyNotfunny or search Witty Not Funny or Google search Teespring Witty Not Funny. And Witty Not Funny, of course, all one word. Check out the cool designs, all original, all some kind of pop culture reference, as you can see here from the few examples. But we got a ton more in the store. So show us some love, support the podcast. We put a lot of time and effort into designing these and coming up with ideas for them. So they're very cool. I wear mine all the time at Bills games, and I always get a comment, or somebody points it out or says something. I've had people take pictures with me with my Buffalo Brothers t-shirt on. It's cool. Like it's something people don't usually see, aside from like a Bills jersey or something different and usually original, and people get the references and stuff. So check out the store today. Support the podcast. Please show us some love on the store there. What else we got? Twitter handles at Witty Sports 716. Twitter, Instagram. Witty Not Funny Sports on Facebook and TikTok. Make sure you follow us on all platforms. Show us some love. We love following back. Bills Mafia, Saber Swords People, trademark pending for that fan group. Who still doesn't have a name for some reason. So we're trying to create one. But Witty Sports 716 on Twitter is where we're mainly at. So give us a follow there. Show us someone we love following back. We always like to say, whether you're watching now, watching in the future, or listening to this on audio, whether you give us 2 minutes or 2 hours of your time, we greatly appreciate it. For all the nonsense and all the ridiculous references we make, we appreciate you commenting and liking and subscribing. If you haven't done so, please do. If you are listening to this on audio or want to listen to this on audio in the future and run it back, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you find podcasts are listened to for free on the Built in Buffalo Podcast Network. And with that, thank you everyone for tuning in. And as we always say on these parts, go Bills, and of course, stay witty out there, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week. Peace.
Bye. In
Bye.
5 days,
Later.
the Bills are undefeated.